On a beautiful warm day like today, the carp are often off the bottom, mid-water or near the surface. If because of bird life or other distractions, or just because you're rubbish at floater fishing, it's not an option, then give the Zig Rigs a go. Basically, this is a means of anchoring a floater fished on a long hook link just underneath the surface, and can be a killer method when the fish are browsing around under the surface, cruising and not interested on feeding on a bed of bait down on the bottom. It's really easy to tie up a good Zig Rig. All you need is the right components. A good quality copolymer line, in this case 10-pound Hydroflow from Gardner. This is a nice smooth line with a low reflective surface and a high knot strength. The next, you need a hook you can rely on. My personal choice is a size 12 mugger. It's a small hook, a light hook, but very sharp, and you find that once they've pricked the fish's mouth, they're very likely to stay where you want them, in the bottom lip, and that means that you're going to land the fish of your dreams. Right, let's have a look at how we want to tie up our end tackle. Let's tie a Zig Rig then. The first job is to tie a very small overhand loop in the end of what will be your hook link. This loop only wants to be under 1 centimetre in size, because you're only going to be using a small piece of Zig Rig foam to lure the fish into biting later on. Next, strip off the amount of line that you'll need for the length of your hook length. In this case, it's only a shallow lake, so I only need about 5.5 foot. Now, we're simply going to attach the hook using a knotless knot. This is a very popular knot that can be used for all manner of materials, whether it's fluorocarbon, braid, or high quality copolymers. If you put the hook link in through the back of the eye and pull it up until the loop is flush to the back of the hook, and then whip the knot round, normally about 7 or 8 times is ample, and pass the end of the line back through the hook, going towards the point of the hook. This is really important, and I recently had a guy at a show come up to me and he couldn't work out why he kept losing fish, and it was simply because he was putting his knotless knot through the wrong way on the eye. Always have the end of the hook link going through the eye on the inside towards the point. Pull it through once again, and this whipping knot will keep itself firmly in position and offer high knot strength across a lot of different materials. With normal rigs, a hair of this length would be far too small, but when you're using a suspended floater, you want the hook bait to be right on next to the hook, so that when the fish goes to mouth it, the hook is guaranteed to go into its mouth despite the limited movement of the hook link being held tight up from the lead by a highly buoyant piece of Zig foam. This is the yellow type and is my preferred favourite, but I know the black is extremely popular in the lakes up in Oxford, and around the country you get certain colours that are favourites for different groups of anglers. Find the one that works for your own venue. Trim off a lump, normally about just over 1 centimetre is perfect, and mount it onto the hair how you would any bait. Simply push your hair needle through the centre, threading it on to the back of the hair and stopping it with a small float stop. When you've pulled it down into position, it should look a little like that. That's a beautiful bright lure to draw in the attention of a passing cruising carp, and because it's got no flavour, there's only one way that they're going to be able to test it. But there's one last thing that we have to do. By putting an anti-tangle sleeve on, it helps to kick the hook link away from the lead during the cast, and this will really reduce the tangles. If we use it with a size 8 swivel, it also means that we can use one of our lead clips, which means that we have the flexibility to change lead size to suit the range that we're fishing to. Really, it's best to only use the lead necessary to reach the range the fish are at, because otherwise quite often you'll have a long hook link and a big lead bouncing around, and it can cause hook pulls. There you have it. Just tie your main line, thread your main line through your lead clip, tie it onto your size 8 swivel. Make sure that the alignment on your Zig foam is nice and tidy and that your hook link is straight, and cast it out into the pond and wait for the rod to hoop over and the fish to impale itself. Cracking. At the end of the day, when you've finished zig fishing, to save you having to retie it all from scratch, just pull the swivel out of the lead clip and wrap it onto your friendly big Gardner rig bin. If you tuck the swivel over one of the retaining lugs and then wrap the hook link round, you're ready to get fishing straight away next time you want to put a zig in.